Welcome back to That Shiro Life podcast. This podcast is for you if you're ready to start living an epic life. That's a life that is energized, purposeful, inspired, and creative. I'll be sharing mindset and manifestation tips, affirmations, and inspiration that support you in body, mind, and spirit as we embark on the Shiro's journey together. I'm your host, Burnett Sherman, a creative intuitive on my own adventure to create an epic life with more wellness, joy, and love. Welcome to season 2 of That Shiro Life podcast. The theme for this season is the call to adventure. This episode goes out on July 18th, 2024. So in this episode, we'll talk about what the call to adventure means to me, why it matters, and what I hope you'll get out of the season. You'll also get a mini message and an affirmation at the end. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my newsletter because I'll be sharing more tips and resources, and subscribe to this podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Mount Hope Media, which publishes and produces works to help right the world. You can find books by yours truly at mounthopemedia.com. All right, so I want to give a little background on That Shiro Life. When I started That Shiro Life, I was inspired by the journey that Shiros and stories take. When we watch a movie or read a book, we can see it play out. But I want to break down some of those key steps on my podcast. And though it'll take some time, I hope it'll give you tools you can apply to your own life and to live that epic life that we are trying to live. What is the call to adventure? As a creative writer, I write mostly fiction, and most of those stories feature female main characters who go through their own epic stories. Even my new romantic comedies have female main characters who will have a call to adventure, and whether they know it or not at the time, they're seeking their epic lives. Yes. Those stories are going to be closer to what we might experience in real life, since you may not be jumping through space or traveling to places foreign to you to defeat your nemesis or reclaim your magic, like my fantasy and sci-fi books. You might be, but most women walking around on Earth aren't. Yes, we're magical, but we may not be doing those kind of high fantasy, epic fantasy adventures on the daily, if you know what I mean. At its most simple, the call to adventure is the inciting incident. It's that part of your story when something happens that demands a response that would take you from your everyday life, that's all the things you are familiar and comfortable with, and into a place of discomfort so that you can have that thing you may not have even known you were missing, or so you can save your family, change the world, uncover some deep truth. The list goes on. The call to adventure is the very first stage in the Shiro's journey. You are the author and the Shiro of your own story. So for you, this is that spark that ignites your journey into the unknown, so that you can now go do whatever it is you are seeking to do or seeking to accomplish on the other side. Now, this is the beautiful thing about the call to adventure. It's that it is unique. Its uniqueness sets it apart. For every one of us out here, there is a different call to adventure. It is specific to you. Now, it may have similarities to someone else's call to adventure, and the plot may even have similarities, just like many of our favorite books and stories follow plots and themes that are recognized and adored. But how it plays out through the story and the characters, especially the main character, which is you in this case, right? That's what sets each story apart from the others. I love that. So your action this week is to watch a movie or read a book that has a clear beginning and an ending. Try to pay attention to the point in the story where the Shiro goes from her everyday life to receiving the call to adventure. Ask yourself, what happens before the call happens? Who is she? What's her life like? What is the call? What's her initial response? Just think about those questions as you take in the story you'd usually take in. And I suggest a movie or book because a television series is going to have a much longer arc. And as we go through this season of the Call to Adventure on that Shiro Life podcast, it may be easier to stick with one storyline that is digestible. So usually a call to adventure is a moment that disrupts the main character's world. This can happen in real life when we experience loss of any kind, or the receiving of shocking information that shakes up our understanding of the world, or even when something huge happens that is exciting and you think, oh God, this is going to change my life forever in a great way, or I've got this great opportunity. That is also a call to adventure. So calls can happen and they may appear as clear challenges or quests. That's when you are directly asked to undertake some kind of mission. It could appear as a threat to your world or way of being, so you are confronted with danger. Or it can appear as a personal desire or ambition. In that case, you are drawn to some goal or dream. When the call to adventure does happen, you are taken out of your comfort zone and dumped into the adventure. So we'll dive into what happens from the call in future episodes. Because while movies and books sometimes show this often, in real life, it's not as easy as it sounds. We don't just say yes, and then, we're on this big adventure. So just to sum up what we've talked about, this call to adventure. One, it's your story's inciting incident. It introduces the conflict or problem that you, the Shiro, will face. And it sets up the stage for your Shiro's transformation. And I say you because in your life, you are both the author and the Shiro. We get to play both of those roles. And it gives us power and it gives us responsibility and accountability all together. Yes. So when you think about your own life, you might be saying things are fine and nothing needs to change. If you truly believe that deep within your spirit, you probably wouldn't be listening to a self-improvement podcast. So next week, we'll take a look at some questions to get thinking about whether you might be ripe for your own call to adventure. Like, what's your life look like now? Before I give you the mini message for the week and an affirmation, I have to share a little bit about my own creative writing as I do write about Shiros. I'm so excited about this because I'm currently writing later in life, that means over 40, I should say 40 and over, sweet romantic comedies. And my first one, But First Crawl, is available on pre-order on Amazon and it's in Kindle Unlimited. There's a link in the show notes for a group promo I'm in now where you can discover other romance books. And then there's a link straight to my book, both on Amazon and on my website. I'd love if you got a copy. It'll be out on August 1st. I think you'll be able to tell her call to adventure. But if you read it, please let me know what you think it is. And by that time, I'll have a couple more episodes out about the call to adventure, so you may find it interesting. Again, the book is called But First Crawl, and it's book 1 of the Walking Club series. You can find the book directly at mounthopemedia.com. And as this episode goes out on July 18th, it is on pre-order on Kindle and enrolled in Kindle Unlimited with a release date of August 1st, 2024. Now for the mini message. I enjoyed receiving this one from my helpers in spirit. And then as I was writing, I was like, huh, very interesting. Very interesting. I learned something when I get these messages that I share with others, which is always really cool. So if you're distracted or doing other things, I invite you to bring in the silence and just listen to this for a moment, because I think it's important that we receive this message, and I think it may help you on your own Shiro's journey. Here it is. There are no accidents, only synchronicities and karma working together. When we move in alignment with the best opportunities our karma can provide and maintain a mindset of positive growth and love, both of self and others, we can begin to create more opportunities that align with a higher state of being. Karma is not set and adjusts based on our present actions. Continue to do good and create out of a place of love and purpose. Wow. I know that resonated with me. And it's a reminder of how important it is to be in alignment. So the affirmation that I wrote to kind of bring all of this together is this, and I'll speak it for you and allow you to receive what resonates. I am anchored in the vibration of my highest soul self and connected to my purpose. I am anchored in the vibration of my highest soul self and connected to my purpose. I am anchored in the vibration of my highest soul self and connected to my purpose. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As with anything I share, and anything you receive in general, take what feels right and is aligned with you, and leave what doesn't. Not everything is meant for every person. There is space for many paths. Just like on the call to adventure, there are many calls, there are many journeys, there are many adventures. Everyone is unique. There is space for it all. If this episode was helpful, please drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you. Share with me if you've experienced a call to adventure or a pick of where you are listening to this podcast. I would love for it to be a conversation. I'd love for us to connect. Find me on Substack. Join the community there. If you aren't already part of my Facebook group, please join the Epic Living for Women Facebook group. It is free. Getting my newsletter on Substack is free. And they do have all these other features on Substack, like notes and connecting a community, which I would love to try to grow. So please join me there as well. And remember, you are already the Shiro and the author of your life. It's up to you to make it an epic one. Thank you so much for listening to That Shiro Life podcast. Again, I am Burnett Sherman, your host, and I look forward to seeing you again next week as we get more into the call to adventure. Take care.